Have you ever sat down, looked around and thought, man, I wish I could run this place? Whether it was about your work, politics, or any other similar situation, we are fortunate enough to be able to test our management skills in a virtual environment before taking on any real responsibilities. Today I want to bring you an absolutely disastrous adventure where I select the worst duplicants I can land my hands on and try to conquer a space rock. Spoiler alert, it went bad. I started on an asteroid named Verdante with volcanic activity traits, abundance of metal, and very limited oxygen. With a set of 3 duplicants that I deemed the absolute worst, we embarked on a mission to establish a colony named Breathless Trainwreck. I started expanding to the site to have some space for the first research station and looked around to see what the asteroid had to offer. I ordered the duplicants to dig out a tunnel towards the nearest non-polluted water and started to wonder about a layout of the base, considering the only source of oxygen that would soon disappear. After 3 nights of sleeping on the floor, it was time to accept another duplicant. I picked one that couldn't do any research and had decreased excavation, literally perfect for the experiment I was running. Every task in this colony was taking an outrageous amount of time, and the lack of any skilled miners surely wasn't helping it. Fortunately, as the cycle 6 came around, it was time to pick a skill. It's been a while since I played Oxygen Not Included, and the very first time to try a non-standard asteroid, so I was often confused and finding out about useful things while figuring out how to solve some daunting problems. The biggest threat, as the very name of the game suggests, is the lack of oxygen. I'm a huge fan of the hydrogen power plant, but the biggest disadvantage of it is how quickly it runs out of fuel. I also have no idea how to deal with gas pressure, and oftentimes what happens is that my carbon dioxide halts the production of oxygen and hydrogen. I usually try to put those carbon skirmishers, or whatever they are called, to suck out all the CO2 from the air, but as you will see in the video, I did that way too late when in fact it should have been my priority. On the 10th cycle, I tried to follow the pattern of picking the worst duplicants, and since my biggest problems were speed of supplying and mining, I did everything to avoid getting anyone with experience in said fields. I started to have serious issues with breathable atmosphere, but it wasn't until the cycle 14th, when during mining out a spot for a hydrogen power plant, one of my citizens suffocated to death, officially confirming the very subtle foreshadowing hidden in the name of the colony. The next day, I finalized the construction of the power plant and had to divert a small crisis with the gas intake as I incorrectly connected the pipes to a filter. I also finally started building a farm, and for some reason, each time I come back to the game, I can't seem to be capable of remembering that mealwood does not require any water to grow, which is honestly so annoying because my duplicants were at the brink of starvation. I promise my next attempt will be better. On the lower levels, submerged in a cloud of carbon dioxide, I planted all the oxyferns I had, since they consume a bit of water, CO2, and breathe out oxygen, which is very kind of them, I must say. For a while, things started to stabilize and the colony rose to a number of 7 duplicants, and then one duplicant opened the door to the toilet of immense suffering and starvation and flopped to the ground right after leaving it. I swear guys, I had nothing to do with this event. I carried on, accepted another brave volunteer willing to join my escapade, and did my best to expand the farm. I kept researching various things and I had a very pleasant layout in mind, but again, everything was taking a lot of time. I also often felt as if the movement speed of my little dudes was decreased. I may be hallucinating, but I seriously remembered them to be a bit faster. The duplicants managed to finish the construction of a distillery of wood and slime, and since the power plant operating on ethanol emits carbon dioxide, I planned to place it around my CO2-hungry plants. And as I'm editing the recording, I just noticed that there are actually 3 memorials, not 2 like I initially thought, so it only goes to show how incredible of a manager I am. I wonder if being an artist without a diploma has anything to do with it. I had aspirations for building a farm with those small critters that eat quite literally anything and turn it into coal to run a coal generator, and even partially build the spot for both the ranch and the power plant, but I had no duplicant with the ranching skill who could arm the traps. On the 40th cycle, I accepted another duplicant, kept expanding the farm, then mapped out a place for saltwater filtration system that would also supply our main water tank. I'm pretty sure I missed that part, maybe I was writing with someone on my second monitor or something, but legitimately in such a short period of time, some goober sabotaged the whole operation by mining right underneath my duplicants. None of them thought it's appropriate to construct the floor tiles, so 3 of them fell into the water tank. Unfortunately, despite me ordering them to destroy the blocks, none of them would actually do anything and the whole group perished. It was then when I decided it's best to abort the mission and retry with some refreshed knowledge. If you like this type of videos, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I also wanted to let you know that I haven't abandoned Vintage Story and I am working on a video, but recently I've been tapping a bit into multiplayer. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you around next time.